Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all, just stop. Get real.
Welcome to DBL. All right, just to get and be transparent, since we are a live show, having a little bit of technical difficulties just with the video playback. So if you can, please be patient with us. We're patient with you, right?
How are we patient with them?
Not at all. Welcome to DBL. We're starting today. Very sad news. I was shocked when I saw this. The passing of Suzanne Somers. She was a friend of our show and a beloved actress, writer, and fitness entrepreneur. Suzanne died following a 23-year battle with breast cancer one day before her 77th birthday. We all remember her as Chrissy Snow on Three's Company, which was a huge hit and one of the most popular sitcoms at the time. Unfortunately, Suzanne was fired after she demanded equal pay with her male co-star, John Ritter. She then went on to build a health and diet business empire. Who can forget the Thigh Master, which sold more than 10 million units. Suzanne and her husband, Alan, were married for 46 years and made headlines for their very active sex life well into their 70s. And just before her death, Alan gave her an early birthday present of a handwritten love poem wrapped in her favorite pink peonies, writing, "I weep when I think about my feelings for you." Suzanne was also our friend. We were lucky enough to have her as a friend. We interviewed her several times, and during one of those appearances, she shared just how magical her marriage really was. Take a look.
My first date with him, I did everything my mother told me not to do. I was 20 years old, and I thought I may never get another chance. So I had my first pot brownie. It's the first time I ever went to a man's hotel room, and this first time I ever slept with a man on the first date. But we're here all these years later. I just knew. I knew he was the one. You know, that's that lucky thing, that chemistry thing. What is it? Yeah. If you believe in past lives, or maybe we knew each other in another life, but I just knew.
In Judaism, they call that beshert. The one you know it's meant to be. What do you think, Al, about Suzanne's passing?
Well, I was caught off guard just like you guys were. Last time we talked to her, she just, was full of life as she always was. You know what, Jeff, man, Suzanne Somers, she kind of first got on our radar, this story, the kind of one line, this was the clickbait, we have sex 3 times a day. And you and I had some fun with it. And she came on our show and talked about it, and I was like, okay, I think I love this person.
Right.
And she was very direct, and we're going to talk about her love. We're going to talk about all the Thigh Master she sold and how she was such an entrepreneur. But I think what's lost about her life, and what probably most relates to everything that's going on, especially in the world of entertainment, but in work in general, was she demanded equal pay.
Yes, Al.
Our U.S. women's soccer team was talking about that a couple of years ago. She was the first to do it, and she lost her job because of it. We never talk about the people that lose their job. We always have we need the bow at the end, and then she became head of the network. That always doesn't happen. Sometimes you stand up for yourself, and I'm sure you teach your boys this, and there is no public redemption. Only you know that you did what was right, and I will respect her. We all laughed with her. She's an incredible, full life, well lived. Congratulations.
Yeah, she reminds me of my childhood, watching Three's Company.
Absolutely.
Watching that Nick Night with my mom or something. So that's how she was first introduced to me, right? You mentioned the business aspect of it. I thought about her husband, Alan, like that video, he looks like a fun, goofy guy, right, or whatever. But being together for that long, when your other half passes, a piece of you definitely passes with it, right? So I hope they do have some friends or family, someone close to Alan, to keep an eye on him, because they were so close, and you saw it in that video that we just showed. So when I heard that, of course, I was sad for Suzanne, but I also thought, wow, this is going to be tough on Alan.
That's a huge loss. That's a huge loss.
What did you think when you heard?
Oh, I was shocked. Only because she's so full of life. What I remember Chrissy Snow, or Suzanne Somers,
I almost called her Chrissy Snow,
I almost did,
too,
is her comedic timing. She's a physical comedian. People forget that. Barry Manilow, they were very close, said, "Suzanne and I were friends for decades. She was the sister I never had. We shared triumphs and heartaches, but her fame in so many fields overshadowed her real talent as one of the greatest comedic actors, a loving mother, an amazing homemaker, and one of the world's best cooks. I will miss her dearly and hope she's now out of pain." I also want to say she really helped a lot of women who are aging finally speak up for themselves. So she actually has something to say about that. I want to speak in her own words. Here is she speaking about that book.
I've written 27 books, so many of them health and hormones. And what I'm really trying to tell my constituency is that I may be in my 70s now, and I always thought when I got in this decade that it would be over, and I just want people to know it ain't over if you know how to take care of yourself, because aging is about worn out parts. So your hormones start declining, your nutrients start declining, your minerals start declining. So what I write about in my books is how to put it all back together again.
So just like you were saying, Al, she was one of the first to say, I want equal pay. She was one of the first to talk about aging in that way and being proud and being sexual and being sexy. That was not something we talked about. So we all kind of laughed, but like she opens that door for many, many different ways. So
and it's not that she just talked about aging, Tori. It's how she talked about aging.
Right.
She didn't talk about how to get rid of wrinkles and, you know, that's fine and be thin and don't eat. She was talking about the inside, healing yourself through prayer, therapy, making sure your hormone levels are right, making sure your gut health is right, that your gut and how it's connected to your brain and how that deals with your happiness, and not mailing it in at 70 and understanding that life can begin again. And here we are talking about the Golden Bachelor, and people are realizing that now. She was talking about that a couple years ago. So Suzanne Somers, a pioneer, always been ahead of her time.
Rolling Trouble said I had a thigh master. Did any of you have one?
Oh, yes.
You had one?
Yes. Did you?
You had a thigh master?
I mean, it wasn't. Look, you didn't own anything at my age. No, we had a thigh master, and then there was also that. Remember the ab rocker?
Yeah,
where you would put
so
your head
hard.
in. Yeah. Every black family had like a couple random
exercise
things. And then like a Stairmaster that was like analog, not digital, that you would just like no one touch it. It's like
just
weird
leave it there.
Yes.
That's amazing. Well, to Suzanne Somers, her family, and especially, as Jeff said, to Alan, we are wishing you the best, and we are so sorry, but may her memory be a blessing. Coming up on DBL, our interview with the Melissa Etheridge, how she's given her fans the ultimate concert experience on Broadway. And the Israel-Hamas war rages on as the crisis in Gaza gets worse. Is America doing enough? We need to hear from you. Stay tuned.
Closed caption.
Men in the backseat. Yeah. I don't want it to be an ad, but I rented the Ford F-150. I always get cars on the weekend that I wouldn't buy. Yeah. And I don't know. You like it? When I rented my Audi, I ended up buying it, even though I wasn't expecting to. And I was like, if I've got a little extra $120K laying around.
Did you feel like you were tougher than the other drivers? Because that's how I feel when other drivers pass me in a truck. I'm like, easy nerd.
You know what it is when you're in a parking lot and just like somebody pulls out, you're like, hey, what's on you, bro? I'll be fine.
What?
Yeah,
I mean, really?
So you do feel a little more aggressive.
There's a righteousness to it.
It's like you're in a tank, and honestly, it's so weird how, you know, the idea of a pickup truck is like, oh, you know, tough American. Yes, there is some of that, but it's all the amenities. There's like a plug, like the prong plug that you can just plug stuff into.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bro,
there's a outlet
it's like
in there.
driving around in your office, and I think it's because a lot of foremen and construction guys, that's their office in there.
It is there.
So, I mean, it was like really laid out.
I went to a convention, and they showed me, and there was music in there, speakers in there, grilling
everywhere.
tables.
Plugs were in the bed of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like so tailgating.
Yeah.
Man, I loved it.
You could live in that F-150 comfortably.
You really could.
Do you know what I mean?
If you're gonna live in everybody lives in a van.
Don't live in a van by the river.
Yeah.
F-150 by a creek.
That's right.
Way better.
I don't like when they pass me in the rain.
Yeah, because you don't fear anything.
No, I just want to stick a spoke in their tire.
Welcome back. The situation in Israel and Gaza is growing desperate, and both sides continue to fire rockets at one another as hundreds of thousands of Gazans are desperately trying to flee south ahead of an anticipated ground invasion by Israel. Now, President Biden was on 60 Minutes last night, and he called for Hamas to be eliminated, but also warned Israel not to make the mistake of occupying Gaza. He also had this to say about Israel. Please take a look.
The Jews have been subject to abuse, prejudice, and attempt to wipe them out for over 1,000 years. For me, it's about decency, respect, honor. It's just simply wrong. Wrong. It violates every religious principle I have in every way, and every single principle my father taught me.
So how do you all feel about what's happening, and what do you make of President Biden's response to the whole situation? Basically, people are stuck in like a maze, right? They're just stuck in Gaza and they can't get out. And Israel is saying, we're going to bomb this whole place. And what I have a hard time is the surrounding countries are not accepting these Palestinians, who many are innocent, many are children. Half of them are children. So we're talking about 2 million
I don't feel
people.
like people talk about that.
Right.
The median age of this country is 18. The median.
Yeah, and in God,
so that means think about like what a 12-year-old looks like, and there's like or an 18-year-old even. They look like kids when you see them. When I would go perform at colleges, I remember I did a college one time, and I asked the person to set it up. I was like, "Is this like a high school freshman?" And he was like, "These are college kids," but and those are 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
18-year-olds look like children.
They are basically.
That means a lot of them can't make medical decisions on their own.
Correct.
So think about it like that.
And just so you know, surrounding them, if you didn't know the map, is Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Iran. None of these countries are accepting them. So at some point, where are they to go but to die?
What else could they do?
I think part of Hamas's tactic is to keep them there.
Correct.
So you don't
they're
bomb
saying stay.
innocent people.
Correct.
That's their whole thing. They're like, we're going to occupy churches, hospitals, or maybe not churches.
It's like
temples.
Temples, things like that. They're going to occupy places where, like, if it gets on the news that Israel blew up a temple or blew up a school or blew up a hospital, then that's to their advantage. They're playing, like I said last week, that quote about, you use weapons to defend your people. They're using people to defend their weapons. And that's their tactic. That's what they're doing. So a part of their tactic as terrorists is chaos. And they're causing chaos. Millions of people, imagine, trying to flee
all
a
at
city
once.
all at once.
Right.
That's chaos.
Right.
And they're igniting that chaos. That's exactly what they're doing. So in some way, we're playing into that hand. But you have to have a strong hand. There are going to be casualties. It is war over there right now.
Right.
So are you accepting of how many casualties there are to eliminate Hamas? Or do you play into their hand and not bomb those places?
Right.
It's a conundrum.
What does America do? Do we hit the ground? I mean, that would be super rare if we did ground boots, but do we have people in Israel now? Are we asking our soldiers to go in there?
I heard we had special forces in there. I'm not sure if that's true, but I think we do have.
Usually it's more like they put in little teams.
But
exactly.
So we do technically,
Obviously,
fact check this. Yes, but I thought we did have some teams over there. So we do have people on the ground.
Right.
Do you think we need to be doing more, Al?
I think the situation, because I think it's so far over there for our Americans, it's just tough for us to visualize that. But if you think about I think they said Hamas is 2% of Gaza, like in terms of the population versus the people in Hamas. And it's almost like if two bank robbers took over a bank. They're in there. What do? Do you say we're just going to go in there and there's going to be a lot of collateral damage? Or do you try and excise them? Obviously the bank robbers are going to be like, we'll let the tellers and everybody out so that you can identify us and can kill us easily. They're going to keep the hostages in there. So we've seen this before. So maybe the same tactics that police use, I'm not in SWAT, would work here. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to differentiate. You're obviously going into their territory in terms of
which is difficult.
Tunnel systems.
I was going to say the terrain, the cave situation.
Right.
Remember, Afghanistan was hard to get in because of the little system.
Absolutely.
I do want to say we have about 199 hostages that Hamas has taken. So in terms of SEAL teams, usually they're there to extract. So we're about 200 hostages that they have to deal with. I would just like to make the plea and to educate people. Egypt is has the space. They can airlift over the border. Jordan, which Antony Blinken is in.
But they're not.
Lebanon.
But they're not. So
Al,
like, we
they have to go
there.
somewhere. They have to go somewhere.
I don't know.
And Egypt is next door with the space, and they don't want to. They just are politicking, and people's lives are at risk. Children are being killed because that border is remaining closed. I'm just begging Egypt from this platform that I have, this little platform, to open your borders. It will save lives.
Ideally, I hope so.
Yeah. And right now, our Secretary of State, Blinken, is over in Jordan trying to open those borders. Lebanon, Iran, please, there's people there. As much as I can do, this is all I can do. Coming up on DBL, we're talking with Melissa Etheridge all about her one-woman Broadway show. Coming up next.
More than 2,500 people have been killed since Hamas launched an attack on Israel. Many claims and images have been circulating about the attack. We're going to verify 3. First up, was Hamas's attack on Israel funded by $6 billion of American taxpayer money? Let's follow the money trail. Iran has helped fund Hamas for years. About a month ago, as part of a prisoner swap, the U.S. unfroze $6 billion that South Korea had paid Iran for oil. That money had been frozen as part of sanctions back in 2019. It's not U.S. taxpayer dollars. The money is currently sitting in the Qatari banking system, and news reports indicate that the U.S. has reached a deal with Qatar to not allow Iran to access the funds for the time being. Iran's role in the Hamas attack remains unclear. Next up, this viral post claims to show Israel attempting to create fake footage of war deaths, but that's not true. Using video forensics tools, Verify traced the clip back to a TikTok from April of 2022. The caption says the clip is behind-the-scenes footage from a video shoot. So, which film did it come from? It's a Palestinian film called Empty Place that was released in 2022. In the film, you can see the same boy from the video lying on the ground. And finally, this video claims to show Hamas militants parachuting into Israel, but that's not real either. The video was actually filmed in Egypt. Verify traced the viral video back to a TikTok posted on September 27th. Using Google Translate, the original video says it shows footage of the Egyptian Thunderbolt landing at the Egyptian El Nassar Club. So, what does that tell us? Well, the Egyptian Thunderbolt is an Egyptian Army Special Forces unit, and the El Nassar Club is a soccer club based in Cairo, Egypt. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
Welcome back. Melissa Etheridge has an unbelievable career that spans decades, and in her new memoir and Broadway show, she continues to be one of the most honest and raw musicians of all time. Earlier, we spoke with her all about it. Take a look. Please welcome to the show, Melissa Etheridge!
Melissa, I love it. I'm going to play your music all weekend on the balcony just to celebrate you. But let's get back to you. You just released your new memoir, Talking to My Angels. But this is not your first memoir. You also wrote one 20 years ago. So I want to know, how are you a different person from that book to this one?
Well, think about how different you are from 20 years ago, you know. Wow. It's like that first book was the how I got to a certain point and, you know, sort of my childhood and stuff. This one is much deeper. I've lived through so much more. My, you know, adult life has had many twists and turns in it. And this book has more spirit in it, more about just the journey that this life can be and how I've gotten through it.
Wow, such inspiring, like just your whole story is just so inspiring. Your life story has gone from the page to the stage with your Broadway show, My Window. But you said you actually had to cut some parts of your life out for the show. So what are some parts that didn't make it in?
Give us the tea.
There's so much that didn't make it. You know, there's stuff that didn't even make the book, you know. It's just, my life has been very rich, very filled with ups and downs, all kinds of contrast. And you know, what is in the Broadway show is the musical track, and then sort of my love life and that track, and then Cancer and Spirit and everything after that. That's pretty much the Broadway show.
That's a lot. Yeah. And just what a career. I think what really stands out about your art to me is that you're not afraid to talk about the dark times. A big part of your life story is when you lost your son Beckett 3 years ago. Can you talk to us about like how performing helps you deal with that pain?
People do ask me afterwards. I mean, the show is a lot of fun, and then right at the end, I bring in my son's death, and then how every day when I do this show, I lift myself up and say, my son would want me to be happy. My son would want me to go on with my life and my journey. He would not want me to take on any guilt or shame about the choices he made and what happened in his life. And that heals me every single day. I do that. Every single night when I do that, I'm telling myself that, no, get up. This is what you're supposed to do. This is the best thing.
Wow, his memory certainly is a blessing for you. You've always been an LGBTQ icon. You came out in 1993, and so did your biggest hit, Come to My Window, Baby.
She's never going to be on our show again.
She will be on the show.
You've sang that at karaoke a few times.
Yes, ma'am. I'm so excited to sing it to you. But I wanted to know, seriously, what was going through your head when you first made the announcement? Because I wanted to know, were you mentally prepared for what was to come, whatever it may be?
No, there was not a lot of people out at that time at all. It wasn't something that you did. We were in the midst of don't ask, don't tell. Everyone was like, okay, maybe you are, but don't say anything. And it was just, it wasn't really planned on my part. I happened to be surrounded by a lot of really powerful LGBT leaders. I was at Bill Clinton's inauguration, and I was like, you know, very proud to be a lesbian, and it just happened. And I tell you, people always ask me, you know, did it hurt my career? And I went from just selling under 1 million records each record to 6 million records that album. So it did not hurt my career, and everything's been fine.
Wow. There's a lot of power in living your truth, and you are definitely a shining example of that. But we understand your daughter got you into Taylor Swift, and you're also a big Chiefs fan. So as a football fan, do you think the whole Taylor and Travis thing is a distraction to the game, or does it make it more entertaining?
I think it makes it more entertaining.
Amen.
I think it brings in young girls. I grew up with my father loving football and loving the Chiefs, so I am not a bandwagon Chiefs fan. I've been a Chiefs fan through the really dark days. And so I love seeing all these Swifties, all these young girls going, who, football, what? And really, getting on and starting to watch football. I think football is a lot of fun, so I'm all for it.
Melissa, it's been an honor that you came to our window. Thank you so much.
What a life.
We'll be right back.
Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you.
Bed bugs are tiny parasites that feed on the blood of humans and animals in the middle of the night.
It's all over my leg, and the other leg as well.
While they're not known to spread disease, bed bugs can be very difficult to control and hard to spot. They hide in dark places like between cushions, in mattresses, and on clothes. People who attended Paris Fashion Week found that out the hard way.
It's so freaking itchy, and I've been checking all my bags to make sure I don't carry any of them home.
Now many people online are sharing tips on how to kill bed bugs and avoid an infestation. One post with nearly 2 million views claimed putting your clothes in the freezer for 4 days can kill bed bugs. Using these sources, I'll verify that claim and a few others. Claim 1. Washing and drying infested fabrics on high heat can kill bed bugs. That's true. Our sources say heat treatment is one of the most effective ways to kill all stages of bed bugs.
We recommend that you wash and dry both as hot as you can get it. Standard hot water needs to be at least 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, more or less.
If the item is too big for the washing machine, our experts say steam cleaning kills bed bugs too. Claim 2. Freezing infested items can kill bed bugs. That needs context. In controlled scientific studies, cold temperatures can kill some bed bugs when left in a sealed bag in the freezer at 0 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 3 days. But the EPA and entomologist Dr. Floyd Shockley both say that the freezers that most people have at home don't get cold enough to be effective.
It will kill many, but it won't kill all of them.
And finally, claim 3.
Alcohol. Alcohol kills bed bugs.
That's true. Rubbing alcohol can kill bed bugs, but our sources say it isn't recommended. Terminix says rubbing alcohol is flammable, so it's not really a good idea to spray it or soak upholstered surfaces or fabrics with it. And Orkin says rubbing alcohol isn't a guaranteed solution because bed bugs are excellent hiders, so it doesn't work unless you directly spray the bugs with it. Now, if you're unable to control a bed bug infestation on your own,
And it's time to talk to a professional because they will find harborages in your home that will make it impossible to treat.
with your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
This message warning about a cyber attack is going viral on X and Facebook. It claims hackers are using WhatsApp to widely share malware in the form of images of fighting in Jewish settlements, and by opening these images, you allow access to your phone. But are these warnings legit? Let's verify. Our sources are WhatsApp, cybersecurity company Fortra, and a professor with Boston University's Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. WhatsApp tells Verify the viral chain message is a hoax and says there's no evidence of this happening on their platform. We found a nearly identical fake message circulated in the aftermath of an earthquake in Morocco last month, and another similar hoax was shared in 2021. None of these warnings were real. So, no, warnings about a WhatsApp cyber attack linked to Israel-Hamas war images are not legit. Our professor explained while it's theoretically possible to infect a phone with malware using an image, the tactic is rare and usually used against targeted victims, not the general public. If you ever receive an unsolicited message, our sources say, use caution before clicking or downloading attachments.
Welcome back. If you suffer from arthritis, eating these fruits could help manage your system. It's time for some joint and muscle support brought to you by Omega XL. So experts say people who eat mangoes, strawberries, tart cherries, I've heard of that one, and red raspberries can help manage inflammation and maintain healthy joints. Omega XL has improved the lives of millions of consumers, supported by 30 years of clinical research. Omega XL's powerful and proven benefits have transformed the lives of athletes, celebrities, and dedicated daily users. Call 1-800-726-5185 or visit omegaxl.com for more information. We got some comments about Suzanne Somers. Sarah says, Suzanne was such a pioneer for women, demanding equal pay. What a legend. And Jessica says, I loved watching Return of Three's Company, and then Step by Step.
Oh, yeah.
Great show. Remember that? Step by step, day by day.
What was the premise of that?
She was the hot wife, stepmom to Patrick Duffy, and they combined their families kind of like a Brady Bunch, and his whole thing was he wanted to sleep with her every episode. Remember that?
That was how they used
That was
to
the entire, he was like, let's go in the bedroom. Not another kid. Oh, no. Like, that was it. Remember? And she's like,
I got to binge watch that.
It was great, but it was a good show, yeah. Anything about Suzanne you guys want to say?
I just want to say life well lived. And, you know, honestly, she was pre-internet, so there won't be as many hashtags. But people right now are feeling the impacts of the decisions she made back then. So shout out.
Beautifully said. We wish her and her family the best, especially Alan. DBL is new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.